Alright, ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing on this Tuesday, December 21st, 2021? Thank you for joining me here tonight for another metallic episode of Music of Destruction. Bringing you guys the very best in metal-related content, right here on YouTube on the only metal channel you need. If you missed anything in the past week, click that on the upper right corner of the screen. Everything you need to get caught up on all my latest videos is there. If you want me to review anything, make suggestions in the comment section below. Slam, deathcore, metalcore, and modern tech death can fuck off. I don't like the genres, deal with it. Remember, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss anything. This is the hardest working metal channel on the platform. Nobody's going to give it to you as brutally honest, upfront, controversial, or unfiltered as myself. I want to welcome you guys to Album Review Tuesdays here on the channel. Tonight we're going deep beneath the earth once again for a look at one of the pioneering one-man bands of USBM, and more importantly, a figure that helped to craft the absolutely decimating misanthropic depressive black metal genre with I Shall Become's In the Falling Snow. Now, I Shall Become formed back in 1995 and released a demo under the name Birkenau of the same name, but this album was released in 2008 on No Colors Records, but this is actually a re-recording of his original album released from Birkenau, when that's what the project was named at the time. Now, there's some scarce details about whether or not this is true. I'm not entirely sure. Now, this version I actually do prefer over the demo, which was released in 1991, but it is said to be a bootleg. Now, I Shall Become consists of a sole member who goes by the name S. Holloman, who does all the instruments. Now, some of you might complain that he uses a drum machine. I mean, I personally find that to be one of the most compelling aspects of DSBM, is that it gives it a very inhuman sound, which is exactly the point of this style of black metal. Alright, so let's get into the review, shall we? The album opens up with the intro, and this is a very somber, clean, guitar-driven, melancholic piece that clocks in at just 1 minute and 26 seconds, but the immediate sense of isolation, wonder, and contemplation sets in instantly, and you know what you're in for. This is one of the best intros to a DSBM album, in my opinion, that I've heard, and it does its intended job well. Next up is the track In the Falling Snow, and this one opens with some of the coldest, melancholic riffing I've ever heard. Bone-chilling despair and repetition set in like a blizzard in -60 with wind chills that will freeze the skin right off your body. The keyboard work reminds you of being completely lost and alone in melancholic isolation, freezing to fucking death. The vocals sound like the desolate howls of anguished, frozen undead spirits roaming the vast black, ice-cold, desolate tundra with nothing but the desire to slice open every major artery and paint the fucking snow red. I mean, that's how good this track is. But the solitude and isolation is also very welcoming and inviting, and this is dark and depressing, but it's also incredibly beautiful and serene in its execution, and overall incredibly moving atmospheric drive, which ends up creating a truly captivating, memorable listening experience. This is an excellent fucking track. Next up is These Cold Desires, and as if this couldn't get any colder, well, it does. This track carries you and lifts you out of this mortal coil into an ice-cold, desolate, blackened tundra where nothing but flat landscapes and a cold winter moonlit sky exist, with morning spirits casting their anguish through the cold, blizzarding winds that cut through you like razor blades that hunger for flesh with infinite precision. The riffing is cold, melancholic, and blizzarding, as is the keyboard work, which is ancient, dark, desolate melodies that repeat and create such a haunting, solitary, depressing atmosphere. The simplistic drum work really carries the track well, with moments of double bass heaviness with some blasting underneath more tortured vocals that sound like a frozen ghost full of despair and misanthropy. This is another amazing track that drips with atmosphere and brilliance. Next up, we have All Alone and Dead, and this is a bit faster of a track with some doomy low-end guitar work to go with the ice-cold, melancholic, chilling madness of the guitars. Some double bass drums that really drive home the panic and anxiety that this track induces, as its frenzied pace gives the feeling of extreme paranoia, but also the pain and anguish of isolation and longing for death. This is one of a shorter track that clocks in at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. However, what's encapsulated here in that short time is nothing but pure misanthropic brilliance through its use of low-end guitar work that really helps to drive the atmosphere into your subconscious. This is another great track. Now, next up is Dreamscapes, and this is a keyboard-driven piece that sounds like something right out of a dreamscape sequence, just like the name suggests, and it kind of serves as an interlude to this hallucinatory, surrealistic nightmare of an album, which really instills a sense of nocturnal isolation and solitude. This track is pretty good for its short 1 minute and 25 second duration as it builds in its intensity towards its climax. This is a good ambient track. Next up is Acid Lights, and this is an absolute ice-cold trip into suicidal madness and full-on misanthropic desire for isolation and separation from humanity. The bleak, desolate guitar work and melancholic, chilling rasps from beyond sound like something that is truly trying to convince you to leave this mortal coil with no regrets. The title suggests an obsession with perhaps a trip on acid that went horribly wrong. The psychedelic aspects to the guitar work and overall atmosphere are terrifying and hypnotizing to say the least. So let's listen to Acid Lights here on Music of Destruction. Enjoy. And we are back. And yeah, despite its shorter duration, this is a very emotionally compelling piece of dark work that will leave you breathless and dead, and that's just the way I like it. Great track here as well. Next up is The Lost Man, and this one is a strangely profound track that gives the feeling of a man lost, dead, and alone, but also on the verge of a complete mental breakdown from suffocating anguish, and the keyboard work is high and panic-inducing, with moments of sustained despair-filled melodies with the creeping sound of a very intense melancholic riff structure that plays off of it but pulls you into its dark, cold embrace of madness and solitude. Beckoning for the knife's blade across the throat and wrist of the listener, this one spews forth into uncharted territories of the mind that causes intense reflection and contemplation about the darker things in life and experiences. Great song here as well. Next up is Our Children Die, which is another shorter track but no less desolate and hatefully ice cold and emotionally compelling. Hypnotizing riffs compel you to keep diving deeper into this despair-filled, ice-cold, desolate land of solitude and blood-soaked madness as the song completes the cycle of never-ending insanity and desire to paint the snow red once again. The crescendos of repetitious riffs that drive the melancholy deeper and deeper wash over you like a wave of ice that chills every organ in your body, and this dissonant atmosphere does everything to serve the album's goal of isolation and suicide in beautiful, compelling serenity that certainly hits its mark on all levels and aspects. This is another killer track. Next up is Burning, and this track is a definite, awesome, compelling closer to the album other than the outro. This is a track that moves you further down the ice-cold lake of despair and misery with panic-stricken melancholic madness and depraved rasps that remind you of frozen spirits trapped in an ice-cold plane of non-existence that would have to equal purgatory, as this album carries you into the realm of the dead. that exists solely to relive their misery over and over and perhaps spread it onto the living at any cost. But the desolation is so strong and compelling that it's hard to find this depressing, even though it obviously is. What it is to me is a compelling expression of someone who's in pain and feels nothing but disgust for humanity, but is also empty and apathetic, but obsessed with the cold, which gives this album a very lifeless overtone and atmosphere, and it succeeds so fucking well at this. Closing out the album is a short outro that's kind of similar to the intro, and it rounds things off nicely. It's sad, melancholic, and despair-filled. Cold, clean guitar melodies really do well to finish this off with an amazing emotional experience. This is an incredible album. The final verdict for In the Falling Snow by Ice Shall Become is getting a 10 out of 10. This is goddamn DSBM perfection with a perfect fucking atmosphere. Alright, so there you have it, another album review in the books here on Music of Destruction. Hope you enjoyed the premiere. If you're new, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. teespring.com/music-of-destruction for merch there. Also Bonfire, bonfire.com/store/music-of-destruction. New merch coming up this week. Girlfriend's working on some more designs. Thank you very much, Janelle. The Seed episode number 35, The History of Cryptopsy, is up on the Patreon page. Brand new podcast for all you fine patrons. Thank you for your support. Patreon.com/music-of-destruction. Pick the $5 tier. Colton James and myself have completed our first movie review of Alien from 1979 over on Beyond the Big Screen Movie and Game Review. Make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button there as well. Working on the review for Aliens from 1986. That's going to be coming up very, very soon, so thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much for watching tonight. Like, comment, subscribe to this channel, and share this video. Have an awesome night. We'll see you guys for Album Ranking Wednesdays. Cheers. See you guys in the next video.